Welcome to Edie Extra, edie.net's home for all of our exclusive special audio features. As more voices, businesses and initiatives join the conversation on environmental sustainability and tackling the climate crisis, Edie Extra cuts through the noise. We'll be asking the big questions about the hot topics, profiling seasoned leaders, and getting out and about, taking you to the heart of the action with on-site recordings from site visits and events across the world. Welcome to the place to find in-depth conversations with sustainability leaders about sustainability leadership. Welcome to Edie Extra. Hello and welcome to this new and exclusive episode of the Edie Extra podcast. This channel is the place for sustainability leaders about sustainability leadership, and I'm delighted to have a special lined up all about green skills and sustainability careers. I'll be diving into this topic in depth with Richard Norman, who is CEO of the Leadership Skills Foundation. But before I do, I've also been sent a few lovely sound bites from some students engaged with one of the foundation's programmes, giving their thoughts in brief about green careers and the opportunities and challenges they see there. So let's hear from them first.
So I'm Emma. I'm a Barnsley sixth form student. I'm studying A-levels at the moment and I'm hoping to go into Earth and Environmental Sciences at university.
Do you think leaders in government and schools/colleges are properly thinking about the careers of the future?
I would say no. I think there are too few jobs that don't require a degree, especially when the job doesn't require a degree for the subject knowledge of the degree and more for the standard of work that it produces. I think that could definitely be assessed through some kind of preliminary assignment when you go to apply for a job. And I also think that requiring a degree isn't fair because a lot of people don't go to university because they can't afford it, or it's too far away, or they don't have the support from their family that they would need for that. And there's also, like, in areas of sort of deprivation, there's a lot of low aspirations because people just don't think that education is very valuable. So there's a big disparity between people who have degrees and people who haven't been able to go to university. I would also say that young people, including myself, feel that without a degree they are greatly limited. I would say that if I didn't love my subject so much, I would only be going to university to get a degree because I would be scared that I would have no prospects without it. I would say that training could be offered by companies, or the company could support the applicant to go to university if it's actually necessary. But I think there definitely needs to be more skilled jobs that don't require such rigorous, expensive training.
What climate/nature skills would you like to be added to a curriculum and course choices? Is there anything that you're not seeing enough of at the moment?
I would say that there's a lack of opportunity for students to connect with the outdoors, which is ultimately what fosters a desire to save the environment. Courses like Outdoor Pursuits, which is something that was offered to me in high school, is a great course which involves climbing, caving, hiking, camping, all those kinds of great things that make people love being outdoors. And my friend who did Outdoor Pursuits in high school said that it gave her a new perspective on the environment and it helped her to find her passion for the outdoors again, which is obviously a really positive impact. However, as far as I'm aware of, Outdoor Pursuits is quite unique in its outdoorsy content, and I think young people would definitely benefit from more courses like that, which can help them to connect more with the environment and to care more about it ultimately, because it's difficult to want to save something that you don't engage with, really. However, it's understandable that people would think that time in school or college, especially when it gets to A-level, should be used in an academic sense. In that situation, I think it would be really good to have a course kind of like the Environment Leaders Programme, which runs sort of alongside A-levels, but focuses on like going out into the countryside and doing fun outdoorsy things, and getting some knowledge about the environment and things like that. I am aware of opportunities like the Duke of Edinburgh Award and Scouts, which do offer skills like this. However, those aren't necessarily accessible to everybody because of the time and getting there and being able to do the volunteering and things for Duke of Edinburgh. So I would say that being able to do an extracurricular thing in schools and colleges would be very beneficial.
Hi, I'm Vanita. I go to Barnsley Sixth Form College and I'm currently 17.
Okay. First question. Do you think leaders in government and schools and colleges are properly thinking about careers of the future?
In general, not really. Lots of leaders don't. I think they have a lot of ideas about the future generation, but they don't really put that much thought into our livelihoods after they're gone. It's more about their lives right now instead of the lives of the children of the future. So, not really.
Okay. What climate and nature skills would you like to be added to the curriculum and course choices? Is there anything that you're not seeing enough of at the moment?
In regards to that, I think most schools and colleges don't focus a lot on climate stuff unless it's like a particular week or event or like close like COP27, 28. So unless you're doing like a course like geography and stuff, then it's not really focused on as much. So I do think it would be good to have like a subject or like a little extra course that people could choose to do to learn more about the environment, how to be more sustainable, how to just better protect it in their everyday lives.
My name is Ali, I go to Barnsley Sixth Form College and I study maths, French and health and social care.
Thank you. Do you think leaders in government and schools are properly thinking about the careers of the future?
Overall, no. Whilst the ELP is an excellent starting point for encouraging climate-based careers, they are wholly ignored within the education sector. Though this question does not specify careers in the climate sector, I believe that they are above all other careers in terms of importance for what careers will exist in the future if nothing is done about climate change.
Okay. What climate and nature skills would you like to be added to the curriculum and course choices? And is there anything that you're not seeing enough of at the moment?
I'd like to see a new subject that properly educates all children from as young as 5 years old about the effects of climate change. Sure, geography is brilliant for learning about tectonics and meteorology, but only a small percentage of the curriculum is based around climate change. Climate change is so much more than extreme seasons, and the world's going to end by 2050, and it's important to educate from an early age, mainly to prevent false rumours about things such as the climate change hoax said by the infamous Donald Trump. It should be a legal requirement to be properly educated on climate change.
Yes, what a scene setter there, a real overview of what young people in the UK are seeing in terms of their green career opportunities. Here to help us flesh out the conversation in a bit more detail is Richard, who, as I mentioned, is the CEO of the Leadership Skills Foundation. Thank you so much for your time, Richard.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming on. It was great for me to learn a little bit more about the foundation recently, and my only regret is that I didn't know about it sooner. So for our listeners, I think it's probably worth a brief introduction.
Oh yeah, thank you. Well, that's really nice to hear, actually. And we normally most weeks we hear someone who's encountered us at some point. So really, the Leadership Skills Foundation, we're here to empower young people to develop essential leadership skills. We work with a network of 2,500 delivery centres, predominantly schools, colleges, community organisations within the UK and some internationally. And we develop regulated leadership qualifications and awards. And all of those awards, those programmes, they integrate volunteering and social action with over 2.5 million hours of learning and leadership each year. So our vision is that everyone should be empowered to shape their future and lead their communities. And for the past 40 years, we've done that through sport and dance and outdoor activities. But more recently, we've been working through launching STEM leadership and esports leadership and our Environment Leaders programme, which we've developed in partnership with WWF and RSPB. A key to all of our programmes, including the Environment Leaders programme, is that young people plan and deliver projects with their peers to make a positive difference to their communities. And for the Environment Leaders programme, over the past 12 months that we've been piloting that's ranged from reducing plastic waste and boosting recycling to planting trees and building owl boxes, all while gaining recognised qualifications with UCAS points. And the impact we've seen of that is that, young people are gaining communication, green skills and confidence as coming out as the key skills that they are developing through that programme. As I said, over the past 12 months, we've piloted that programme with over 250 students in 23 schools, and we're now looking to expand the programme and make it available for younger students and pupils across the UK, empowering those young people to make a difference now, but also to their futures.
Great, so that's a lot of appetite for that particular course, but would you say that there's a strong appetite among this generation to be leading businesses and organisations? And if so, do you think that they see that they have to be an ESG leader to do that as well? Are they really thinking about this?
I think for those of us who have the sort of leadership job titles, chief exec or directors or whomever, ESG is something we're all starting to learn and adapt to. I think for young people, it's not necessarily as known a thing at the moment, but we definitely know that green skills and sustainability and climate and action and nature are all part of what young people are interested in. We already know that of the existing workforce, predominantly Gen Z workforce, probably only about 5% of those people feel that they have the green skills to actually meet the kind of growing demand for the skills that there are in the workforce. And some recent research that we conducted with young people over the past couple of months was that actually only 20% of them feel that they are gaining the skills that they need to contribute towards sustainability and tackle climate change. So I think there's still a lot more to do. And key to that is equipping people, young people, old people, whomever, the workforce of now and also of the future, with the confidence that they can make a difference and make things like ESG move away from being something that sits in a folder or file or a piece of paper somewhere and become something that is actually sustainable practice within every organisation.
Got it. And do you think that maybe these young people have a misconception about what a green skill is? I'm sure they all know about ecology and energy and litter picking and, as you say, like bird boxes and nature projects, but do they know about the general skills and the soft skills maybe that you need to work either in the green economy or as like a C-suite job?
Yeah, I think the big one there was probably, for me, leadership skills they're not soft skills. They're essential skills. They're skills that are relevant to everyone, regardless of what your job title is. It's not just about C-suite professionals having these skills. They're some of the hardest skills for everyone to develop. They're not innate. They're not something that we are born with. They are something that we have to give opportunities for everyone to practice and develop and know what their strengths and weaknesses are, what they can bring and what they can influence. There was a 2016 World Economic Forum report that said that 65% of the primary school age children will enter the job market to roles that don't currently exist. So we're kind of trying to build an education system on roles that we don't even know are going to exist in the future. So for me, that's increasing that focus on transferable interpersonal skills. And as we've developed our programs, including the Environment Leaders program, they're all based on a skills framework that are what employers have identified that they need. We feel that they are the foundation of all leadership skills programs, but also they're the foundation for green skills, the green economy, and they are things like problem solving, teamwork, self-management, communication, self-belief. These aren't rocket science to one degree or another. They are things that we probably all recognise within our own working lives, but they're going to be vital to the green economy and green skills of the future. We know that those essential leadership skills not only make a positive impact now if we give young people those opportunities, but they'll help them in 10, 15 years time when they're making sustainable decisions in their professional and personal life. And we feel that's really huge, is that if, through the Environment Leaders program, we're creating a movement of future leaders who hopefully will be equipped to tackle the climate crisis in many shapes. So I think in the future, the green economy and green skills, they're just going to be the economy and skills. We won't talk about them separately. And every job, every school will have some form of sustainable practice in it. And we need to make sure that we're preparing young people accordingly.
Yeah, I totally relate to where you say that, we don't know about the jobs and what they'll look like yet. It was awful when I was at school. I was told that I'd probably have to go to typewriting and touch typing to be a journalist. And now a lot of journalists are using AI more. So in the next few years, I can only see that getting not worse, but you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely, yeah. I think my career's advice, I had the opportunity of being a rugby player or a fence erector. So I'm hoping that, we know that careers advice has come a long way, but, this is it's really key that the education is a key part of that consideration. There's part of the benefits of education is its universality. Every young person can access education. Doesn't mean that all of them do, but there aren't the same barriers that might exist to other activities that have a cost associated to them, that can then create barriers or socioeconomic barriers and so on. So the benefit of making sure that these programs are incorporated into education is that they are open to all of them. But as we said, that we know that only 1 in 5 young people at the moment feel that school and education is giving them the skills that they need to tackle nature loss and climate change. But we also know that they want to do more. That research that we did recently, 2/3 are saying that they see lessons around nature and climate change and environment as important as maths, history and English. And over half of young people, 59%, they want to learn more about the climate change. So we've got to see what we can do to support education to deliver those skills and those confidence and that awareness that will make a difference to green skills and green economy in the future.
And that's why it's great that the foundation and other organisations are really looking at this strategically. But I feel like some of the issue that we're seeing is that it wasn't necessarily looked at as a strategic priority under the previous government. So we've not had a big old update to the skills strategy in years and years. We now have a newly elected government, so there's an opportunity to change that. So are you optimistic that we could really shift the baseline here, and in terms of policy and the overarching approach to education, give these students what they want and what they need?
Absolutely. I mean, a big part of our identity as an organisation is always being optimistic. So, and partially that's because what's the alternative? We've got to be optimistic, but it can't be blind optimism. We can't just hope that these things will happen. It needs all of us to contribute. It needs that strategic eye, as you said, that strategic lens. And for me, the key to that is starting that education early. We've spoken about the kind of the universality of education already, and we've seen already that with the new Labour government, we've had recent mentions in the Commons around committing to giving young people the skills that the country needs, and we know that demand for green skills is only going to increase. We also have the National Curriculum Review, which is being led by the Department for Education, which has stated aims around including young people leaving education as being ready for life and a curriculum that's relevant to young people. So we're optimistic that the right questions are being asked, but we'll have to wait and see until the recommendations are published in 2025 to see what changes are actually being made, and that schools and teachers are then supported to implement them. We already know there's huge strains on education. We can't just keep expecting it to do more with the same or less resource. So we really need to see that commitment that will come out of this review. But as we said, we know that the demand's there. We know that young people want to learn more. They see it as vitally important. And because of the nature of climate change, and with the UN report around, the 2024 on ready to be the sort of the hottest year on record, we know that young people are more connected to that news than certainly my generation were in the 90s. And we've got rising levels of climate anxiety amongst young people. And a big part of that is a lack of agency. What can they do about it? They feel that often the research that we've done with young people is showing that they feel that they are inheriting a problem that my generation, the generations before us, have created, and they're sort of being left to deal with it. So our work with the WWF and RSPB over the past 12 months to launch the Environment Leaders Programme is partially in response to that. And we know that the result and the impact of that is that 92% felt more committed to environmental social action and more confident to make a difference, not just in themselves, but also in leading others to make a difference. There's a great quote from one of our learners on the programme. I know you've included some of those already, some of really inspirational kind of voices from Barnsley College. But when we were doing some impact research on the programme, the quote that really stood out to me was that from one of the learners was that this is the first opportunity they've had to be the leaders. There's often been projects that have happened or happened to them, but not one that the young people have actually planned and organised themselves. So we hope that through our work and the work of other organisations as well, that we can make this sort of learning relevant to young people and their passions and their interests. So we're optimistic about young people, and giving them the right opportunities, they'll surprise us in lots of different ways.
So my next question was going to be about what businesses can do to really hone green leadership skills, because most of our audiences are from businesses, and I know that schools and colleges are important for the reasons that you've mentioned, but it sounds like something that businesses could do is simply give new potentially green talent a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I sort of outlined with our Environment Leaders programme, that at the moment is an education-based programme, but we are starting to see other community organisations take that on. We've recently partnered with Chester Zoo, who are going to start using it within their programme. So I think there are huge opportunities for any organisation, but for me, it's about providing those opportunities, and the key to that is the confidence. It's helping people, whether they're part of your workforce at the moment or part of a future workforce, the confidence that they can make a difference. We know that in the future, as we've already mentioned, that green skills are going to be part of everyone's job. We know that current workforces don't feel equipped to meet that kind of demand. So how can we provide those opportunities for all people, and perhaps young people in particular? But we know that they have the will, and it's our responsibility to give them a way to make a positive difference. So, organisations need to consider how could they give their workforce or the local communities that they work with, their customers, a sense of agency and opportunities to develop those skills. So I think for education providers, we know that it's about giving more opportunities for young people, for pupils to develop those opportunities, and it's going to become a bigger part of everyone's lives and work. But for employers, it's recognising that you might have that pipeline of young talent that will drive them towards that greener future, ensuring that they get those leadership skills, but also those opportunities to potentially change your policies and practices, come in and with that enthusiasm to make a difference, and that they so often can. So I think for so many opportunities, it's just about providing people with the confidence and giving them opportunities to contribute towards volunteering, skill development within a nature context. So reviewing your own policies on climate change. But as I said, things like our Environment Leaders Programme don't have to be just in an education setting. And we're looking at how we can expand that both within education to younger age groups, but also outside of education within general workforces and other community groups and organisations, so that we can help them get involved with. We feel this is about creating a movement through skills, small projects that are adding together to make a huge difference.
Great. Well, Richard, it's been so energising to talk to you. Honestly, I feel like super motivated after speaking with you. I hope there's some great takeaways there for our edie listeners, whether they are a business or a non-profit or a public sector organisation, or if they're providing education. But I think that's all the time we have for the episode. Thank you so much for your time, Richard.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.